By the end of this video, you'll know exactly if downing a dozen oysters or eating a massive plate of eel actually does anything for your stamina and hormones, or if you've been entirely scammed your whole life. Look, we've all heard the legends, right? Eat this, become an absolute machine in bed. But how did this crazy myth even start? And why do top athletes and elite biohackers secretly avoid these traditional stamina foods right before game day? I'm not gonna lie, I always thought it was low-key real. I mean, my grandpa swore by it. But when I actually looked at the clinical data and the raw science behind what these sea creatures do to human testosterone, it hits different. We are about to look at what actually happens in your bloodstream minute by minute after you eat them. Stick around, because the answer to that is gonna flip everything you think you know. And trust me, your dinner plans are about to change forever. Think about Casanova for a second. The dude is literally history's most famous playboy. And the rumor is he ate 50 raw oysters every single morning. 50! Just imagine the smell. For centuries, people have been looking at oysters and eels as some magic elixir for endless energy and crazy hormone spikes. Men will literally pay hundreds of dollars at fancy restaurants just to get that supposed boost. But here is the thing. When you actually put these foods under a microscope and track what happens in the human digestive tract, the story takes a wild turn. You might be spending your whole paycheck on a complete illusion. So how did this myth get so big? And why are the guys who actually study human performance avoiding this stuff like the plague? To figure this out, we have to talk about what actually drives stamina and testosterone. It is not magic. It is biochemistry. When you eat an oyster, you are basically eating a little zinc bomb. Zinc is a crucial mineral. If you are deficient in zinc, your testosterone levels are going to tank, no cap. That is just basic science. So historically, back when people had terrible diets and were basically malnourished all the time, eating an oyster would suddenly give them a massive dose of zinc. Boom, their hormone levels would normalize. They felt like Superman. That is exactly how the legend of the oyster started. It was not a magic pill. It was just curing a deficiency. But we are not living in the 1700s anymore. You probably get enough zinc from your regular diet, from beef, chicken, or just your daily multivitamin. And here is the craziest part about zinc. Your body has a cap. You cannot just eat a million oysters and expect your testosterone to keep climbing like a crypto chart. Once your zinc levels are optimal, adding more does absolutely nothing, zero. In fact, eating too many raw oysters can actually mess up your stomach and introduce you to some really nasty bacteria like Vibrio vulnificus. Yeah, getting food poisoning is definitely not going to help your stamina in bed. Now let's talk about the eel, the mighty eel. In lots of cultures, especially in Asia, people go crazy for eel. They fight over the tail section thinking it has the most power because the eel swims so vigorously. That's pure placebo, bro. The tail does not have more nutrients than the rest of the body. It's just a piece of muscle. But people swear by it. Why? Because eel is packed with protein, vitamin A, and arginine. Arginine is an amino acid that helps produce nitric oxide, which dilates your blood vessels. Better blood flow equals better stamina. It sounds perfect on paper. But here is where the science ruins the party. The amount of arginine in a plate of eel is decent, sure, but is it enough to give you an immediate explosive boost an hour after you eat it? Absolutely not. Your digestive system takes hours to break down that heavy, fatty eel meat. It's incredibly high in cholesterol and fat. When you eat a huge, rich meal like that, your body redirects a massive amount of blood flow to your stomach just to digest it. You know that food coma you get after a big meal? That is the exact opposite of stamina. That's your body shutting down to process all that grease. This brings us back to the big question. Why do pro athletes and serious biohackers actively avoid these legendary foods right before a big performance? It's exactly because of that digestion issue. If you want immediate blood flow and peak hormone availability, the last thing you want is your stomach working overtime to break down heavy fats and potential ocean bacteria. Pros use clean, fast-absorbing carbohydrates and pure amino acid isolates. They know that eating a massive plate of eel or 50 raw oysters is just going to make them lethargic. The myth is literally working against you. So what happens in your bloodstream when you eat these traditional stamina foods? Over the long term, like if you eat them regularly over weeks, the zinc and omega-3s will absolutely support a healthy endocrine system. You will have a solid baseline of hormones. But the idea of eating them on a Friday night to have a crazy weekend, that's 100% fiction. The immediate effect you feel is purely psychological. It's the placebo effect. You paid a lot of money, you ate the legendary food, your brain tells you that you're a beast, and confidence alone gives you a temporary boost. It's your mind doing the heavy lifting, not the eel. So what should you actually do if you want to legitimately boost your stamina and hormones without falling for centuries-old myths? First, you need to understand that hormones do not spike instantly from a single meal. You have to build the foundation. Stop looking for quick fixes at the seafood market. If you want real explosive stamina, you need to focus on sleep, heavy resistance training, and consistent hydration. You want better blood flow? Eat beets and spinach. They have natural nitrates that convert to nitric oxide way more efficiently than the heavy fat of an eel. You want stable testosterone? Get enough sunlight. Take a high-quality zinc supplement if you're actually deficient, and stop stressing over magic foods.
I'm not saying you should never eat oysters or eel again. They taste amazing. They are a great cultural experience. That you need to separate the culinary enjoyment from the biological reality. Don't let ancient marketing tricks fool you into thinking you are buying a superpower. You are just buying dinner. If this deep dive into the science of your body changed the way you look at food, you definitely need to hit that subscribe button. We break down the real science behind every crazy myth out there, giving you the actual tools to upgrade your life, not just empty promises. Leave a comment below telling me the craziest stamina myth you've ever heard from your grandparents. Stay smart, keep optimizing, and I'll see you in the next one.